500 years ago. There once was a man that was kidnapped at childhood by his uncle, the oldest son in the Danish family. His name was
Tycho Brahe.
Tycho's uncle's name was Jorgen. It then made him go to law school. But Tycho didn't want to be a lawyer. All he wanted to do was look at the stars.
The stars.
Tycho witnessed the eclipse of the sun when it was predicted to happen at that time. He found it fascinating that people
People can actually predict when this can happen. How can this happen? How can people actually predict when this happens?
Being a rich kid, he could easily go out and buy things so he could look at the stars. When Tycho was 16, he was sent to Germany to become a lawyer with his tutor. But he didn't want to be a lawyer. He loved the stars and the planets and everything else in space. He hid his instruments from his tutor and observed the sun in the sky every night. I mean the stars. He noticed that Alpenstein tables were off by a month. His tutor gave up to him, on him. So he went back to his family. They weren't so nice to him at all. So he went back to Germany, and guess what he did? He helped scientists observe things. Duh. One day, one painful day, Tycho was dueling with a student. And what happened, might you ask? His nose got cut off. So he had to wear a fake one.
It's fake.
Later on in life, Tycho saw a new star. He couldn't believe his eyes. It was never there before. How did it get there? He published a book about it, explaining why it's there. He wanted to keep traveling around the world, but the king didn't want him to. He offered him castles, but he said
No.
But when he offered him an island,
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
he always had guests come to his island. He threw huge parties. He had many children, but they weren't legitimate because the mother was a peasant woman. Tycho abused people on the island and would lock them up in chains.
I got lock you up. How does it feel? Yes! You losers!
He made them work for food and items that weren't even his. The king died and a new king took over. The new king wrote him letters to stop and come back. When Tycho was sued, he just mocked his family and mocked the Supreme Court
by locking them up.
Tycho moved away from Denmark. He wrote the king that if he gave him one more chance, he would come back. The king said a little something like, "Forget it!" 2 years later, the Bohemia king gave him a castle. Tycho started to think that the earth was the center of the universe. But if you really think about it, maybe it is. Not physically, but maybe he thought spiritually. And that is the story of
Tycho Brahe.